S- Hi everyone. Welcome to the weekly politics show with myself, Councillor Puru, and co-host Councillor Andrew Wood. So, in this week's show, we're gonna talk about low vaccine rollout, breaking news. Second section, we're going to talk about call-ins. There's two call-ins going in. One is on the Bow Livable Street scheme, the other one on the closure of the day centres, and we'll talk about what call-ins are. On the third section, after the break, we're going to talk about budget, the meaning of the budget and the implications, and Andrew and I will sort of like dissect through that. And then on the fourth section, the final section of the show, we're going to talk about the new team that the council has implemented, which is sort of like construction noise team, and then move on to a topical issue that a lot of I definitely have got phone calls, is school placements. That a lot of parents have got their decision from the council as to which school their children are going to go to, and also a lot of people are unhappy, and we'll just talk through the process and what the appeal process is. So after the break, join us on the weekly politics show. We're going to kick off with the low vaccine rollout. Does Tower Hamlets have a low vaccine rollout? Yes or no? Join us after the break. Hi everyone, welcome back. Welcome to the weekly politics show with myself, Councillor Premier, and co-host Councillor Andrew Wood. So, first thing we're going to kick off is low vaccine rollout. Does Tower Hamlets have a really low vaccine rollout? There's been a lot of controversy. I know there was a report by the BBC in the weekend that kicked off showing that Tower Hamlets is at the bottom of the league in terms of rollout, and there was also like accusations and counter accusations on social media. The East End Inquirer wrote a piece on it, questioning the council's narrative about the low vaccine rollout, and then I did a piece as well, just looking at the statistics released by the NHS and looking at that. So, and Andrew, you were one of the first people before the news broke, where you were sort of like detected the rumblings in the mainstream press about Tower Hamlets being at the lower end in terms of vaccine rollout, and you had some interesting take about data not being weighted, etc. So, do you want to talk about that, and then what you've been hearing from the council as well on this sort of issue? I know you've contacted the council about this issue as well.
Yeah, so it was actually an Evening Standard report a couple of weeks ago that kind of commented on this for the first time, that Tower Hamlets, I think in London at that point, was kind of the lowest. And I pointed out to the journalist, and they then did a correction, that one of the issues that the article didn't really talk about was the demographics or the age structure of Tower Hamlets. And we are a very unusual borough in terms of our age profile. So, for example, the average age of people in England as a whole is 40 years of age. But in Tower Hamlets, that's 10 years younger. So the average age in Tower Hamlets is 30 years old. And we're actually the fifth youngest borough in the country, because basically what we have is, obviously we have young people at school, and then we have lots of people who arrive in their 20s, work in London, and then they kind of start leaving, maybe when they have children or for other reasons when they're in their 40s. So we have this very unusual demographic where kind of the population is like this at the teenage level, then it kind of goes fat for the people in 20s and 30s, and then it sort of thins down at the top. And I think this is still correct, we have the lowest proportion of over 65s in the country. And most of the vaccine rollout so far has been to those old age groups, and we've got fewer older people than other boroughs in the country. So we'd always expect to be at the bottom. There are other issues with vaccine hesitancy as well, but there's still some kind of missing data. So it'd be really good to kind of see something that kind of proves that mathematically that that actually we are sort of on the same level as everybody else when you look at people in 65 and above. And that's what I asked Tower Hamlets Council for on Monday, when this latest article came out from the BBC at the weekend that said that Tower Hamlets had the lowest vaccine rollout at 14% of any council in the whole of the country.
So on the back of that, I actually went to the COVID champions briefing. So just to let the listeners know that every week the council does a COVID kind of briefing for stakeholders